So I had my first successful No Nut November ever. I was addicted to porn and to masturbation from 12 years old, and it took me 10 years to get to this point. Now, I knew about No Nut November since about 15 years old, and I was able to go on longer than 1 month streaks, but it was never around November. I don't know, maybe it has to do with all the darkness we have during this month. But the fact was, I could never summon enough willpower to go 1 month without porn and masturbation on demand. And this was the first time in 10 years. Then November was entirely porn and fapping free. And in this video, I'm prepared to disclose the secret which got me to this point. So the secret is very simple. I didn't start in November. I started way earlier. The last time as of recording this video I relapsed was on August 26th. I didn't wait for November to start to really begin my journey of quitting porn. It's like people say that they are going to start doing something when the new year comes, or when the new month starts. I just started on a random day and I said, enough is enough. I want this to be my last relapse. Now, another key point that I did, which a lot of people miss, is that I didn't focus on the days. You see, the days are just a byproduct of something that happens during those days. And what I found to be essential to happen in those days is a transformation. It's a transformation of your spirit, of your mind, and of your body. In John chapter 8, Jesus talks about how you need to be born again in spirit. You must be born again. That's how I would describe a feeling that I have right now. And I was talking about the transformation, and the best way to kind of visualize it is with this roadmap that I've made after quitting myself and after helping over 90 people at this point. Now, years ago, when I was still figuring this out and was trying to quit and I was looking for advice online, there was this idea that would follow from one creator to another that I didn't really understand. And that idea was that you need to become the person who doesn't fap. But what does that even mean? Now, you probably know about the book called Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits is a book about building good habits and destroying bad habits. And one of the biggest takeaways from this book, and everybody to this day quotes this book, is that in order to build a habit or destroy a bad habit, you need to mentally already be that person who does that habit or who doesn't do that habit. But in my experience, and in the experience of people that I help, it's the other way around. You build a different identity, your identity shifts, then your actions shift. And then you have enough proof that you are the person who you say that you are. So I stopped playing that mental gymnastics and I thought to myself, what would I do if I was the person who doesn't fap? I don't just become it, right? I understand that there has to be a gradual shift in my actions and therefore my identity. But what is the step? What is the current step that the person that I'm trying to be would do? And so a very practical example of that would be, would that person who doesn't fap use his phone in his bed, doom scroll before going to sleep? That was one of my biggest patterns for relapsing, right? And if I didn't get to scroll, I would feel kind of bored. And so I had to learn how to not use my phone in bed at night and not be bored. That was a game changer for me. Now, it took a few weeks to get used to, but after that, I became a person who just doesn't do that. And right now, I cannot imagine using porn as an escape when I'm bored. The whole idea just seems so foreign to me. Now, in the quote that I mentioned earlier in the video from John chapter 3, talks about more of a spiritual transformation. But in case of porn and lust addiction, I found that spiritual transformation is the foundation, but it's not the whole picture. And I've seen those debates in different forums on Reddit, for example, whether or not porn addiction, lust addiction, is a spiritual issue, or it's a physiological issue, or it's a mental issue. And I don't think it's either of those. It's all of them. Now, I have one person that I help, and it's really hard to help him because he's very stubborn in his approach. And one time he told me, well, I know that glory is God's, right? So why doesn't he deliver me from porn? And it's very hard to give any advice to a person like this because it seems that they are so stuck with this one idea and they won't let any other idea enter their way. So in this case, it's clear that spiritually, you've quit, right? But there's such thing as physiological addiction. There's such thing as mental addiction, especially for lust. And if you don't take particular actions to deal with these addictions, eventually they will overpower your spirit. The spirit will follow. I hope you found this video helpful. If you're looking for a closely knit Christian community who are trying to become more virtuous in the eyes of God, if you want free guidance and accountability, join our community in the description down below.